Nostalgia. What is it really? Well, that depends on your worldview, as in one person's life it can inspire positive emotions, offer a sense of meaningfulness, warmth and optimism when you remember what has been and how it made you feel.
I wish there was a way to know you're in the good old days before you've actually left them.
You can cherish moments like living memories to be rewound again and again in a moment of catharsis or sadness. Then to another, it could be considered a dangerous thing, as it only keeps you in a holding pattern clinging to a life once lived, never to be experienced in an organic way again, which can leave one feeling dissatisfied with the present as they yearn for the past. The incredible thing with nostalgia is it's almost randomized and can come in all shapes and sizes to an individual, and often isn't an option to consider as the mind wanders and reminds us of moments, opportunities, and experiences that you can cast yourself back to for a brief moment of joy or sorrow. And when I say anything can do it, I mean even a piece of candy, the smell of a book, or even after watching something entirely new. That by the credits leaves you stuck in a state of confusion as you remember suddenly they truly don't make things like they used to anymore.
No, he's got a point.
In an age of modern media, where storytelling plays second fiddle to just about everything, leaving characters and screenplays to be so poorly written that even an assortment of monkeys could do a better job, and where animation must be polished, refined, and clear to the point that some of it looks almost realistic in cases, and any trace of a human handprint is completely wiped away, we forget what made animated titles so special before. I won't sit here and pretend that I'm not impressed with the quirky visuals of the past decade that certainly redefined what an animated movie could be, but the writing and intention is lost in the current age, and I think people are quick to move on from what was in the pursuit of what's next, that they've all truly lost sight of what mattered and where much of nostalgia and the good feelings to movies came from. Rather than take a second to admire and indulge in the excellence of the old titles like The Little Mermaid, Lilo and Stitch, The Lion King, Aladdin, and even the purpose of this video, The Emperor's New Groove, people want the latest unimaginative piece of cinema that preaches rather than teaches, or projects rather than inject some wonder into people. So I've taken the responsibility of reminding you what was incredible about the movies of old, starting with something that I'd never seen till recent but left me longing for something that offers half the creativity and genuine comedy, that gives a little tongue-in-cheek for the adults whilst offering something engaging and wholesome for the little ones. I won't go too in depth with this one, but the basis of this movie is about a seemingly irredeemable asshat named Kuzco, who's had a silver spoon up his jacksie from birth, who fires his power-hungry hag of an advisor, Yzma, for reasons.
I did it because I wanted to!
So to get back at him, she concocts a potion that was supposed to kill him, but thanks to her aide Kronk, who possesses the collective intelligence of a fucking spanner, he throws the wrong concoction in the drink and turns the prince into a llama.
Shamalama ding dong.
Shortly after this, his body is thrown from the kingdom, and following some antics, he winds up on the back of Pakcha's wagon, a peasant who had previously approached him about not destroying his home for the sake of Kuzco's self-indulgent exploits. And knowing he needs Pakcha's help to return home to undo his transformation, Kuzco tries to appeal to him after venturing off alone initially and encountering an array of hilarious fumbles that all end with the pair returning to the kingdom, having to confront Yzma and Kronk for the right vial, and following a little lunacy, it all ends with a mutual state of contentment, with Kuzco learning to evolve along the way. Now, when I drummed up the thoughts of nostalgia at the beginning, I was referring to the feeling of joy, innocence and hilarity and peppiness that comes from titles like this. Disney used to represent family entertainment and childlike wonder, and in almost all their movies dealt with the same themes and messaging that they're trying to push today to a nauseating degree, but it was all incorporated almost organically. Everything pre-2010, I want to say, felt isolated in creativity. There was passion, intrigue, investment and sincerity placed into the works of the writers, directors and animators. And while sometimes misplaced with how they delivered certain aspects of their stories, their attempts at representation and equality were genuine and heartfelt. Those are the times that I miss from studios like Disney, who have instead decided to take the feelings of a few over the thoughts of the thousands, and it's severely damaging their reputation.
Congratulations, you played yourself.
So much so that DreamWorks and Illumination Studios have stepped up and are seeing the returns for promising, soulful family fun. But credit to Disney, when they got it right, they got it right, and The Emperor's New Groove is one of those moments. From the Looney Tunes-esque style of slapstick comedy that resonates so well with people because of its inventive and unbiased approach towards each character, that oddly is so outrageous at times you start to believe the more asinine elements over anything more realistic that could be done to them. Then the outlandish expressions, wildly eccentric design, designs and saturation disbursement set in the tone scene by scene almost seamlessly meant this movie had everything going for it. And it's this type of style and tone that established Disney as something unique back in the day, with strong character designs, patchy animation that showed the love and craft behind it, and purposeful ideas nestled in with a simple plot that delivered a cathartic result to send folks home happy. There was a lot to take from this one, and it's a simple assortment of characters that all possess different motivations, distinct personalities, fantastic vocals, and by the end, come out of this adventure better from the experience. The character of Kuzco starts off as this self-centered, arrogant little shit and blossoms into a humble young prince who understands humility and gratitude. The journey he undergoes is transformative, becoming something that limits his command and forces him to confront the reality of how many people feel about him was inspired, as it informs the viewer to never think too highly of yourself and stick within that little sweet spot of contentment and respect for the lives of those around you, regardless of their choices and lifestyles. A subtly told story, basically. Then as villains go, Yzma was up there in the realm of absurdly asinine antagonists, as this vain, manipulative sorceress whose ambition was only matched by her own ego, and the over-the-top expressions and eccentric personality characterized by her design went a long way to guarantee that she is an unmistakable addition to Disney's rogue gallery.
Pull the lever, Kronk.
And it's not overselling it to say that Eartha Kitt did an amazing job here with her, capturing the ambitious nature of her whilst retaining the wickedly brutal side without losing a shred of comedy. Pacha was a generous individual with a simple concern in mind, and that was the future of his family and the home that they share, with John Goodman surprising me in his range for voice acting. Pacha became the opportunist in trying to change Kuzco's mind regarding his Kuzcotopia, and his efforts weren't in vain, as the actions of everything else happening around them throughout this spoke to the young prince in course correcting him and taking reference for supporting life rather than taking from it, as this lovable lump changed the very course of history, it would seem. And lastly, Kronk. My dude was just out here living his own fucking movie, and it was awesome.
That's it. She's going down.
The little nuances and subtleties to his character were everything throughout this, and while the jokes landed for the most part throughout this movie, many of the chuckles came from him directly.
Just one more for exotic bird bingo. I am loving this.
He serves solely as comedic relief, but there's a complexity to him in his gentle nature, strong sense of morality demonstrated with the devil and angel on his shoulders, and his unique set of skills carefully seeded throughout the film that make him such a lovable brute. And it works so well throughout, given that he's working for the opposition, but lands where he's better suited by the end. And the chemistry and dynamic that he has with Yzma is unlike any other pairing in recent memory for me, but it riffs off the old archetypal pairing where an underling or henchman receives the audience's love and respect for being the background show stealer or having an indelible personality.
Beautiful.
So collectively, this movie is comprised of competently written characters, appropriate messaging, steady pacing, generous storytelling with a simple goal in mind, with legitimately funny moments that have clearly become long-lasting based on the recurring memes and usage of quotes from this in over TikToks. And it just feels breezy at a brisk 1 hour and 10-minute runtime without ever feeling like it's overstaying its welcome, and I can't emphasize this enough, the humor is heavy and it's stuck with so many today. It wasn't a movie that I grew up with, and truthfully I wasn't even aware of it until about a week ago, but I can understand why this one sticks. It delivers a heartfelt, exhilarating thrill ride with an endearing set of characters who have wildly different personalities and agency for the narrative, whilst utilising a fourth wall breaking design that is incorporated brilliantly. And it's for reasons like these why audiences can almost universally agree that Disney was on top form over 20 years ago now, as it seemed to have respect for itself and its audience with a plethora of timeless movies and moments that generate the nostalgia many have today. Everything felt centered, purposeful, and nothing was ever a cash grab as such, or reeked of desperation as a lot of them do now, but rather an exploration of another world, another tale from the minds of the Brothers Grimm or Hans Christian Andersen, for example, repurposing fanciful stories born from folklore and introducing to a wider audience in the most colossal way. And to be honest, it's not all been bad from the mouse with a giant house. However, you can't tell me for 1 second that half of what's hitting the big screens now even remotely captures your heart the way these did. So in short, The Emperor's New Groove gets the first recommendation from me. It's a joyful, easy watch with fun for all the family, an interesting design and plot and structure to it, and at no point does it feel like a slog. That's going to do it for me for this week though, everybody. Thank you so much for stopping by. If you like this, please hit the thumbs up and subscribe for more content like this down the road, and until next time everyone, take care, and I'll catch you later.